What's up, Techno fam? How are you doing? Chana, your Techno Dad here, and in today's video, I am pretty much answering your guys' question on how to rip 4K Blu-rays. There were a lot of questions in my last video about the Zappiti 4K player and how to create the content that you would put on such a player. So I am going to get into this 4K Blu-ray tutorial right after the jump. And I'm back. So the purpose of this tutorial is so that you have the ability to take all of your purchased Blu-rays, 4K Blu-rays, 3D Blu-rays, and back them up to a hard drive to make it convenient for you to access your entire library in one place with a one-to-one rip of the content. So you're getting the full picture quality, the full audio quality of what's on the disc when you purchased it. That's what we're going to be talking about here. Now, before we get further into the video, I want to make sure I give a big shout out to all my fam over there on Patreon. What is up, Techno fam? Hope you guys are doing well. And again, thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a patron. And if you guys out there have no idea what that is, check out the link down in the description and become a patron yourself today to help support what I'm doing here on YouTube. And that's all I'm going to say about that, so go ahead and check out the link. Instead of going into all the crazy details right now at the very beginning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you what my recommended ripping profiles are per disc, okay? And we're going to get into the software and the drive and all that, but I'll just tell you this right now so you don't have to wade through the entire video to figure it out. For a standard 1080p HD Blu-ray, I would recommend M2TS pass-through. That is going to output you one file. It's going to be an M2TS file, which is compatible with PLEX and Zappiti. For a 3D Blu-ray, I would recommend, well, you actually only have one choice, and it's a special 3D version of an MKV profile. And so that will output one file that's a 3D MKV file. I'm sure it works with Zappiti, not 100% sure that it works with PLEX, but if PLEX does support 3D MKVs, then you should be good to go. Now, as far as 4K Blu-rays are concerned, there are three ways to rip these things. I usually just do two. The third one I do sometimes here and there when I want to make a backup copy of the CD, or the disc, I mean. But for the most part, again, we're going to use an M2TS pass-through profile, and that will output one file that will work for PLEX and Zappiti. Now, the next is a BDMV folder. Now, the reason you would want to rip in the BDMV folder is if you had a disc like Planet Earth or Blue Planet. What the BDMV folder does is it actually keeps all the chapters intact. So when you have, like, you know, I had like the Seinfeld, the full on, you know, all the episodes and seasons. And this is how I would rip one of those discs, because you have the full like structure for all the episodes and all that kind of stuff. Otherwise, it would just, you'd have to go in and like select each episode, and then it'll pump out one file per episode. You could totally do that, but I prefer the BDMV method. And the other like good part, or the other, you know, cool part about BDMV folders is they keep Dolby Vision intact. Meaning, if you have a Dolby Vision disc like Saving Private Ryan right here, I bought this and this has Dolby Vision, and if you use the M2TS pass-through version of ripping this disc, you will get 4K HDR Dolby Atmos, but you will not get Dolby Vision. With BDMV folders, you keep all of the like file structure and the menus and all that kind of stuff, and you get to keep Dolby Vision as well. It keeps Dolby Vision intact. Now, this is supported on the Zappiti next year, right? BDMV folders are supported on the Zappiti currently, right now. However, Dolby Vision is not. But next year's versions of the Zappiti players will support BDMV folders with Dolby Vision. Right now on the market, the only one that supports it is the Oppo UDP 203 and 205. I have the 203 and I've been using that for years, ripping my Blu-ray discs that have Dolby Vision into a BDMV folder, and it works without issue. As far as PLEX is concerned, PLEX does not support this at all. And I know there's so many comments in my Zappiti video saying, why would anybody do this? This makes no sense. You can do PLEX and Shield. And even though the Shield supports Dolby Vision, PLEX does not support Dolby Vision inherently due to the fact that it does not support BDMV folders or ISO files. We'll get to that in a second. So if the PLEX doesn't support BDMV folders, and to keep the Dolby Vision intact when you rip a 4K Blu-ray, you can only do that in a BDMV folder. Well then, by that situation alone, PLEX does not support Dolby Vision rips that are one-to-one. Now, there is a way you can get Dolby Vision on an MP4 file, but that is compressed, and we don't want compressed around here, ladies and gentlemen. No, we do not. We want a full one-to-one rip so that we're getting the exact same video quality, the exact same audio quality from the disc onto our hard drive. And that is not supported by PLEX. I'm not sure if they're going to. The other way to do it is to rip to an ISO file. That means an image file of the disc. The Zappiti does support this. The PLEX does not support this. And that one is also cool. I use that a lot when I want to make a backup copy of the disc that I can just kind of play hell with and not really care about where it goes or whatever. So that's when I actually rip to a ISO file. But for the most part, I usually rip to BDMV files, and that will keep the entire disc, just like if you were taking the disc and putting it into a player and closing it, hitting play. That's the experience you will get with a BDMV folder or an ISO, which you will not get with PLEX just due to the inherent nature of its file support. So what do we need to rip 4K Blu-rays? Well, you're first going to need a drive, and then you're going to need software. As far as the drive, you're going to need a special drive. It's what we call a 4K friendly drive. And not going into all kinds of details, you had to buy one, reflash it to an older firmware, and do all this other nonsense. However, the easiest way to do it is to contact this guy called Alex. Okay, his name is Alex. I put his email address down in the description, so make sure you hit him up and ask for a drive. He sent me a drive 2 years ago, and I've been ripping stuff since then, and it's been great. I've had no troubles with it. So hit up Alex for a 4K friendly drive. Now, as far as software is concerned, I use 2 different softwares for the different situations. I use DVDFab, which you're going to have to spend some money on. And then there's MakeMKV, which is kind of free, sort of. You have to keep going and putting in this code every month or so. I don't know. It's pretty annoying. So I went ahead and donated the $50 so I don't have to do that anymore. So honestly, either way, if you're going to be doing this a lot, and I know some of you have large physical media collections, maybe it's a good idea to just pay for them and then be done with it. So the way that DVDFab works is there are different modules, and you'll see it once we get into the video, but you'll only need 2 of those modules, the UHD Ripper and the Blu Ray Ripper. And when you use MakeMKV, you can go use MakeMKV for all of this stuff. However, I noticed that the user interface with DVDFab is just a lot easier to understand and use. MakeMKV might be a little daunting, but I do use MakeMKV to make the BDMV folders because it's super easy. It's literally just a couple of clicks and you're done. As far as DVDFab is concerned, that's where we do the M2TS pass-through for the 4K UHD discs, and for the Blu-ray discs, M2TS for standard ones, and for the 3D ones, we do the 3D MKV pass-through on the DVDFab software. So links to the software will be down in the description, and yeah. So there you go. That's all you'll need, and you can start ripping to your heart's content. All right, everyone. So let's get going with ripping, shall we? I'm going to put Saving Private Ryan into the drive and get it going. As you can see from this screen here, they have a lot of modules for DVDFab, but as I said, you'll only need the UHD Ripper for 4K UHD discs and the Blu Ray Ripper for Blu Ray discs. DVDFab will scan the disc, and once that's done, we want to take a look at the interface and make sure you are on the Ripper module. So the movie should show up and you'll see it's 4K UHD with Dolby Vision. The second line will say M2TS pass-through, which is what we want, and it says 4K, the resolution, HEVC codec means it's in HDR, and AC3 True HD Atmos means it's an Atmos audio. On the line where it has buttons, info, search movie/TV, choose other titles, and custom, click on custom to change this to M2TS pass-through if it's not already set. This is where you change the Ripper scene and profile. Click on custom M2TS pass-through and then click choose other profile. In this video format page, you can choose which file format you want. I've done all of these and I feel M2TS is the best to keep everything at a 1-to-1 exact rip of the disc. Now, one thing you want to make sure of when you are ripping discs into single files like we are right now, you need to make sure that you have the forced subtitles on. Otherwise, you'll rip a movie like Avatar and have no idea what anybody's saying because you forgot to rip out the subtitles. So let's go do that right now. So hover over the subtitles area and click where it says EN or English. Check the box for display only forced subtitles and make sure the button is on normal and forced only. Next, we need to select a save location. On the bottom left, there's a save to bar. You can click the bar to save to a previous location or choose a location by clicking on the folder icon. Set the destination folder. For me, it's 4K M2TS rips and click select folder. Now we can click the start button and start the rip. And now the disc will start ripping and your next step is to go do something else for the next hour to hour and a half because it does take quite a bit of time to rip these discs. Once it's done, your file is there and you're good to go. Now, as far as Blu-rays are concerned, it's kind of the same thing. You put in the disc, you start up DVDFab, and you're taken to this screen here once everything loads. Okay, so as you can see here, we've got Dave Matthews, Disc 1, MKV Pass-Through 1080p, VC1, AC3 True HD. Now, I prefer M2TS, so what I'm going to do is click on Theater, MKV Pass-Through here, go to Choose Other Profile, and I'm going to click M2TS. Okay, there we go. We've got English, True HD, 5.1. And for this one, we don't really need subtitles, but I don't think they're offering you any subtitles, so there you go. All right, now we need to choose a destination here, and we're gonna go 1080p single file rips. That's what this is. And we're gonna select this folder, and then we're gonna click Start. Now for 3D Blu-rays, we see Avatar is in a Blu-ray, and it says 3D up here right next to the picture. And the profile is already set to 3D MKV.MVC pass-through. So this is pretty much the only 3D pass-through profile that we have. So this is the one that we're going to check. Now you can click on it and look at the other ones. You see M2TS, you see the MKV, but those are all standard profiles. So what we need to do is click this one that is 3D MKV MVC pass-through. So this is the best way to get 3D Blu-rays ripped and the only one that I've gotten to work, and we will verify that in just a second. All right, moving on to BDMV folders. I fired up MakeMKV. As you can see, the little tray is open. So let's put Saving Private Ryan in here and close the tray. You'll see the big middle disk thingamajig spinning as the computer and the software are trying to read the disk. And if you actually hover your mouse on top of it, it's actually a button. And normally when you click this button, you go into MakeMKV, and then you'll do all of the things that you would do in DVDFab. The only thing is there's a lot more options, and it could be daunting for some. But we're not even going to do that. We are going to back up the disk into a folder. And this is pretty much it. Literally, you just put in the disk and you click this, and then you click the destination and it starts ripping. Like, that's pretty much it. You click right here, video backup, Saving Private Ryan, choose your destination, and then you hit OK. And then it starts. And again, this is the way that you can keep all of the menus intact and go to chapters and all this, that, and the other. And of course, this is how you keep Dolby Vision intact. All right, everyone, let's do our verification to make sure all these types of rips work correctly. First, we have Avatar 3D Rip in MKV format. This is the Avatar Rip, and it's being tested on the 2016 E6 OLED, the last 3D OLED in production, and it's being played off the Zappiti player. And once we hit play on this file, we will get the 3D signal being sent to the TV alert from the LG right here in the upper right hand corner. And I don't know if it'll totally be noticeable, but you can kind of see the blurry Fox situation here. And when we stop the video, we get the alert that the TV is switching from 3D back to 2D in the upper right hand corner. All right, now let's go upstairs to check out everything else we need to with these rips. So first, let's look at Dolby Vision support on BDMV folders on the hard drive using the Oppo 203. Here you can see the Oppo menu. It's real nice. It's really awesome. And we'll just navigate over to, I don't know, whatever, Bumblebee. This looks good. So let's select Bumblebee. And as you can see here, we already get Dolby Vision popping up in the upper right hand corner. Again, this is not supported by PLEX, and it is not supported by Zappiti just yet. Next year, when the new Zappiti players come out, they will support Dolby Vision through these BDMV folders. They also will support HDR10 Plus if that's what you're looking for as well. So that's cool for the Dolby Vision support on BDMV folders. We've got that tested and proven. Let's go back over now to the Zappiti player to play all the other files and see what else that we can find. So when we select a BDMV folder, the Zappiti will ask if you want to play the menu, yes or no. If you click no, this goes straight into the movie. However, if you click yes, this will play the disc just as if you were putting a disc into a 4K player. You'll get the menus. You can go to whichever chapter you want. You can go mess around with the audio. It's literally just like you're putting a disc into a 4K player and hitting play. So let's do that. Okay, here we are again with Bumblebee. Let's go ahead and play it, but this time on the Zappiti. We're going to hit yes to make sure that we use the menu system in the BDMV folder for Bumblebee. And as you can see, we are only getting HDR10, and that's due to the fact that Dolby Vision is not supported on the Zappiti just yet. And here we have the movie just like it is on the Oppo 203. And when you would put in a disc to play it, we get the menu, we can go search chapters and all that good stuff. When we hit play and go through, press info on the Marantz AV receiver, we see we are getting a Dolby Atmos signal coming through from the Zappiti. So that's good. And if you're probably wondering what other audio formats work with the Zappiti, well, let's try DTSX. I have DTSX demo discs here on my hard drive, and these are all saved as ISO files, which the PLEX will not support. So let's go ahead and hit play on this. And yes, we are going to use its menu. And as soon as this thing fires up, I'll hit info, and you can see we're getting DTSX. Fantastic. All right, how about IMAX Enhanced? Let's jump into the Bumblebee IMAX Enhanced demo from the IMAX Enhanced demo disc. Now I've saved these on here as M2TS files, and again, this is why I prefer M2TS as opposed to MKV. They just work without any extra steps. So let's go into this. And once this starts playing, let's hit info on the Marantz AV receiver. And yes, we are getting IMAX Enhanced on the Zappiti with this file. All right, how about Oro 3D? I have a short folder of Oro 3D discs in here. And let's jump into Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Now, these are all M2TS files. Again, M2TS, that's what I'm saying. I prefer this over MKV any day. And once we get in here, we can hit info, and there we have it, ladies and gentlemen, Oro 3D as well. So we've got support for all the 4 major immersive audio formats, and of course, we've got support for ISO files, BDMV folders, M2TS, and MKV, all on the Zappiti. Anyway, there you go. That is pretty much it. If you guys have any questions about ripping 4K Blu-rays, or if you're having any issues, definitely hit me up down in the comments below. and or use like social or email, whichever you like using more. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, so I hope this helps some people out. A lot of you have like large physical media situations and you got them all up on display, and I'm sure, if somebody wants to be like, hey, let's find a way to condense all this and put this into like a hard drive or 2 or 3 or maybe 4, like boom, a little RAID drive, and just plug it into the back of a Zappiti or something like that, and you'll be good to go. At least you know what you need to do now. The only crappy part is spending an hour to an hour and a half ripping each disc, and that can definitely take up some time, especially with you guys with those large libraries. So anyway, that's it for this video. Go ahead, smash that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel using the button in the middle of your screen. Once again, my name is Chana D. I'm your Techno Dad. I'll see you next time.